Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. Today I'm going to do a comparison between these two really good coffee makers that were just released. On the left, I got the Keurig K Cafe Smart, and on the right, I got the Mr Coffee Latte Lux. So this also comes in like a black version that's called just the Mr Coffee Latte. It's a little bit cheaper, and it's basically the same machine. So the K Cafe Smart it retails for $250. It is on sale right now for $220. The Latte Lux, it's about $150. Both of these machines have strengths over the other, and both of them have weaknesses over the other. So I'm going to try to show you exactly what I think of each one. I love each coffee maker, so I'm going to do it. Okay, so the Keurig machine does K-cups. So in order to do a latte or an iced coffee or just a regular coffee, you do have to have a K-cup. Now on the Mr. Coffee, it's going to use regular coffee like for a coffee maker. So as you can see here, I've got some Dunkin' Donuts, just regular coffee maker for a drip coffee maker. It's got a filter basket up here. You're going to put the coffee right here and the water in, and then it's going to brew that coffee hot. Over here on the Keurig machine, you're going to put the K-cup in. So it's going to use the K-cup. You're going to put the K-cup in, pierce the top and bottom, and you can brew a coffee. It's also going to brew the shot. So when you do a latte or a cappuccino, you're going to brew the shot with a coffee K-cup. That's going to mimic the taste of an espresso shot. So it's not a true espresso shot, but it's some people call it a coffee shot, which is just a really concentrated coffee. It's going to run 2 ounces of water through this. Normally, a coffee has 8 ounces of coffee into a coffee mug, but when we run 2 ounces through this, it'll mimic an espresso shot. We've got the milk frother here. Now over here on the Mr. Coffee, we're going to put a very small amount of water in here. We can put 4 ounces of water and brew our coffee. That's going to mimic an espresso shot. That's a really concentrated coffee with not much water. Then we've got the milk frother here. Both of these are very nice milk frothers. This one you're able to put in the dishwasher. There's no electrical connection on the bottom. The Keurig does have electrical connection on the bottom, so don't get that part wet. But in here, you have to rinse this out. It's got a non-stick surface. They both have marks in there, and there's a whisk. And down in there, there's a whisk with some marks for latte, cappuccino, and max. So with both these milk frothers, I can froth a lot of froth, or I can froth it cold. So when you do these 1 through 3, that's hot with some foam on it. But all the way over here, it will froth it cold. Same with over here. Here's the milk frother. I can do cold foam, hot cappuccino, or hot latte. Okay, so right off the bat, the Mr. Coffee is great for an iced coffee. Makes a really delicious tasting iced coffee, and for traveling and for putting coffee into a big travel mug. The K Cafe Smart is really good at kind of a latte and a cappuccino. It is a little limited because there's only 2 tablespoons of coffee in here. Whereas on the Mr. Coffee, I can put almost up to 3 tablespoons, and for when you're doing it into a big travel mug, that's just the right amount. But over here on the Keurig, 8 ounces when you're doing a normal coffee, that's about the maximum for a K-cup. So now convenience. So this has a water reservoir. You're simply going to this is going to be like ready to go every time. You're simply going to lift a lever, put the K-cup in, close the lever, hit your selection, hit brew, and it's going to do it. Over here on the Mr. Coffee, you're going to do a little bit of work each time. You're going to have to put the coffee in here, the water in each time, hit the brew button. The cleanup's going to be a little bit more. It's nothing too bad, but you got this reusable filter you're going to clean up and this filter basket. Okay, so let's start off. Let's froth our milk first. We're going to make a latte or a cappuccino. Okay, so I've got each milk frother. Let's froth our milk first. I'm going to pour it into Mr. Coffee. And now the Keurig. Okay, so let's just set the Mr. Coffee and the Keurig on there. The Mr. Coffee, let's hit the hot cappuccino button. That light's going to light up. Over here, we're going to hit the mode button. We're going to go to... Let's go all the way to 3. We want lots of froth. So they both start frothing right away. Now both of them are going to heat the milk up while it's frothing it. Okay, so let's check temperatures as they go. This is Mr. Coffee's about 86, and the Keurig is already at 100. Temperature check again. Keurig 131, Mr. Coffee 107. Yeah, the Keurig frother's doing a really good job. Okay, so the Keurig is done. It's done first. Let's pour it out. Yeah, we got a lot of froth, a lot of hot milk in there. And that is right around 150 degrees. So the Mr. Coffee is still going. We're up to about 142. It just takes a little bit longer. So the Mr. Coffee's doing it, but it takes about twice as long, the Mr. Coffee does. And they both turn off. They don't beep at you. Let's check the temperature. So about 150. So you end up with the same. Let's pour it out. Okay, so now the Mr. Coffee, we have to add our coffee grounds. It does have a nice scoop. It takes 1.5 of these little scoops. And then back here, we're gonna fill it up to the 4-ounce mark. Right there. Okay, close this, close this. On the K Cafe Smart, we simply just put the K-Cup in. Now the K Cafe it is connected to Wi-Fi. It has brew ID, gives us the recommended brew, but we're gonna do a shot. I like to do mine on single shots. I could do a double shot, which is 4 ounces, but I like to do a single. So then you just hit the K button. Over here, we do a hot brew. So I started the Mr. Coffee at the same time, but obviously the Keurig is gonna get done a lot faster. This actually has to brew the water. Now the Mr. Coffee is starting, it's just that the Keurig is a little bit faster. Okay, so we can see the separation we got. We got some foam, we got the shot, the espresso shot, and the hot milk. So we end up with about a 140, 150 degree drink. And the Mr. Coffee is doing a good job too. We can come up here and take a look. So it's gonna brew that water. Okay, so as we can see, the Mr. Coffee, you end up with a little bit more coffee. You have to 4 ounces is the minimum for an espresso shot. Whereas over here on the Keurig, this is where it shines a little bit better. You can have just 2 ounces of a really concentrated coffee shot. So this tastes very good. Both the drinks taste really good. Put your syrups in there, mix a little bit of vanilla, sugar. You can make a white chocolate mocha. They both taste really good. This one's just gonna have a little bit more coffee flavor to it. And we can see over here on the Mr. Coffee, it did a good job. And then the Keurig, you simply just lift it up. It's got the 5-needle multi-brew technology that brewed the coffee. Okay, so now let's say you want a travel mug. This is a really big travel mug, and you want to brew into it with a lot of coffee. The Mr. Coffee is going to do a really good job. I can put up to 3 of these big scoops in there, which is a lot of coffee, and I can brew up to 16 ounces of water. So put 16 ounces of water, these scoops in here, and it works out really well. It's a really strong coffee for a travel mug, very hot. Over here on the Keurig, unfortunately, I can brew up to 12 ounces, but you can only put a K-Cup in here. And these only hold 2 tablespoons of coffee. So you could brew two K-Cups, 8 ounces to get you into a travel mug. Again, the travel mug will fit over here. It's just gonna take another K-Cup. Okay, so now let's brew an iced coffee. Now the Mr. Coffee does come with this nice tumbler that we use. And when you're doing an iced coffee, you're gonna use this bigger side of the scoop. So I can put up to 2 of these big scoops of coffee right there. Okay, so I've got my coffee in there. When I'm doing the Mr. Coffee, iced coffee, I like to put right about 5 ounces. Yeah, I like to put right between the 4 and the 5, or 4 and the 6 of water. Again, whatever water you put back in here. So if you want your iced coffee stronger, just put up to 4 ounces. But if you want a little bit more coffee, go up to 6. Close this. And now in the Mr. Coffee, I'm gonna hit brew over ice. Over here on the Keurig, we're gonna put the coffee K-Cup in. This does have an iced coffee button, and it's gonna brew 6 ounces of coffee through a K-Cup, which is a really concentrated coffee. So let's press the over ice and brew. Now I'm gonna wait till we're done, and then we're gonna froth the milk. We can froth both of these cold, which is really nice. You're gonna see how nice that is. But on the Mr. Coffee, I can brew and froth at the same time. On the Keurig, it's one or the other. You gotta brew the coffee, then froth, or froth then brew. Okay, so they're both finished up. The Keurig is finished up. They both finished up about the same time. Let's take a look, see how the yeah, it did a good job. Really strong tasting coffee. The ice melting is what's gonna dilute it. Same over here on the Keurig. Okay, so I've got it filled up to the minimum line on the frothers. Let's hit the mode button on this one. We want that blue light, that first light. There, over here, we want cold foam. There's a little light that's going to light up. And they both start right away. Again, neither one's going to heat it, but you should get some like foam, milk foam at the top. So with the Mr. Coffee, I am able to brew. It looks like a little bit bigger tumbler. I'm able to put a little more ice into it. You can see you do need to add just a little bit more ice. So I do think the Keurig milk frother gives you kind of more of a silkier froth. Here's the Mr. Coffee. Okay, Keurig is done. Well, actually, they both finished at the same time. This is a really cool, you can see how rich and creamy that milk froth is on those Keurig. Yeah, that looks really cool. Okay, let's go over here to the Mr. Coffee. And it does a good job too. It's really rich and creamy. So both of these are delicious tasting iced coffee. If you add some syrups to this, it tastes really, really good. So both milk frothers do a really good job on the cold froth. You know, the Keurig one might do just a little bit better. But you can see how everything's just a little bit smaller on the Keurig. Everything, you know, you just can't quite make that great big iced coffee. You can't brew into a great big tumbler. But your cappuccinos and your lattes are going to have a little more coffee in them than what the Keurig can put in. I like that the Keurig can do a 2-ounce shot, where the Mr. Coffee has to do a 4-ounce shot. I really do like both of these machines. Again, each one has its own strength. You know, with the Keurig and with that brewer connected to the Wi-Fi, it can keep track of how many K-Cups you use. You can do the auto reorder through the Keurig website. So the Keurig, with it being connected to the Wi-Fi, you can use your app or your smartphone to connect to the brewer, and kind of you can do a remote brew that way, or you can see what you've been brewing. You know, the Keurig does have that water reservoir, which is really nice. So it comes down to, if you brew into a travel mug, the Mr. Coffee might be the best bet. And I do think the iced coffee, the coffee taste in the iced coffee is a little stronger. Now again, the Keurig really shines with a cappuccino and latte, but it also makes a really nice iced coffee. But with the travel mug, you're just going to have to use if you got a big travel mug, you're going to have to use 2 K-Cups. You know, and of course, the cleanup on the Mr. Coffee, you got a little bit more cleanup. It's a little easier with the K Cafe. They both take up about the same footprint. So I really do like both of these coffee makers. I mean, these are going to be in my top 5 or 10 coffee makers for the year 2022. These were just incredible releases. I was so excited. They released the Mr. Coffee's been out maybe a couple months more. Very versatile. You know, it's almost half the price of the Keurig. So, but with the Keurig, you've got simplicity. You've got I put the K-Cup in, take the K-Cup out, I fill the water reservoir. It's a little easier to kind of maneuver, but then you've got like electronics. You've got the Wi-Fi in that. With the Mr. Coffee, you're gonna have a little bit more work, kind of like an old school, putting the coffee in and the water. But you do get some delicious tasting coffee out of the Mr. Coffee because you're able to use regular coffee grounds, and you're able to put so much more coffee in it than a K-Cup. K-Cup, 2 tablespoons, this one. So with the Mr. Coffee, that big one, which you can brew up to 2 of these big scoops, that holds 4 tablespoons of coffee. So the Mr. Coffee holds twice as much coffee as a K-Cup. But the minimum brew on the Mr. Coffee is 4 ounces, whereas the minimum coffee shot on the Keurig is 2 ounces. And I've not noticed, at first I thought the cleanup on the Keurig frother with that electrical connection on the bottom was going to be a lot worse than the Mr. Coffee. I think the cleanup is about the same. You get really used to that frother, even though there's an electrical connection on the bottom. You use a brush, you're over at the sink rinsing it off. It's about the same amount of work. I can throw the Mr. Coffee frother in the dishwasher. I rarely do. Normally I'm just rinsing them out right away and getting them ready again. So please check out my live streams. I'm going to try to do live streams on Amazon every Tuesday night. I'm going to try to find the coffee maker deals and maybe some other home appliance deals that are on sale. I'll have the appliance with me. We'll go through it. We can talk about it. I can compare it with other ones. So if there's 2 coffee makers that are on sale on Amazon, I can grab them. It's also a way to talk to me. There's a really nice chat in the Amazon live program that I'm using. So I can see if you got any questions at all. That's a great place to ask me questions. I can grab a product, show you what I think of it. Again, I really appreciate everybody's support. This is my full-time job now. I'm really happy with it. I'm doing some things on TikTok with these. Little minor instructional things, mainly kind of how these things work, very simplistic. I do have an Instagram account also. Now, I will put a link to these in the show description notes. The link will be to Amazon. So if you click on the link, it'll take you to Amazon. Now, I do get paid if you click on that link and you end up buying the product. The products don't cost you anymore, but I do get a commission if you click on it and end up buying it. Yeah, this question right here, these two coffee makers, everybody's wanting me to do a comparison, wanting me to pick. It's going to come down to what you want the most out of. They're both great coffee makers. This is going to be a very hard decision. My coffee maker of the year for 2022. He's going to be in the top 5. There's also the Ninja. Ninja came out with a brand new dual brew coffee maker that does Nespresso pods. It's amazing. Instant came out with a new single serve coffee maker. So just a lot of exciting times around coffee and these Mr. Coffee makers. And I'm just super excited to be doing this. So I really appreciate everybody's support. If you could, please like and subscribe.